Hi, my name is Mary Coll and I'm a Limerick poet. A lot of my family have their origins in the county, and so there's a dichotomy in the same way as there is in Mary Burke's work between my identity as a city girl and my identity with my family in the countryside. Some of my earliest memories are of walking behind the cattle on their way back from the milking parlour back to the fields with my father's cousins out in the country. And I married a man who's a country boy with a farming family too. And this first poem that I'm going to read to you, I think, sits nicely against the backdrop of Mary's work. I've been familiar with it for quite a while, and I always was drawn to the way she looks at place and her sense of place. And in this poem called Plassy, I'm trying to work out my place and my partner's place in a particular place, in the grounds of the university, how each of us responds differently to the landscape around us, and how each of us, because of how we've grown up, has a very different relationship to place and space. Plassy. Somehow we wound up in Plassy, and I told you that on summer's days like this, it had been the furthest reaches of my urban child's imagination. The Elysian fields, complete with rocks for jumping off into the Treacle River. Fields and rivers and trees and rocks do nothing for you. They are things a country boy goes through and across and around on his way to someplace better. The someplace you always want to be. And grass is for cattle and sheep, not for sitting on. Although in the end you humour me. So there we are, like that sepia picture on my mother's wall of the man with the moustache and straw boater. His wife beside him, looking more than a little out of sorts, having flown the coop for Manhattan, only to fall for the one man there who would bring her back, just yards from here, to pose, on another summer's day like this. Their whole story, like ours, caught in a moment. Are we staying long, you ask? I'm thinking forever, I reply, as you roll your eyes and sigh to the passing swans. That was about trying to find place and about trying to be comfortable in that space, in a shared space, when you have a very different relationship between two people. This poem is called Uncle, and it's about my uncle and one of the first times that we met, because we had been separated by family circumstances for a long time. And he was a fine, big, strapping countryman, and we met in the city in one of those fancy hotels where nobody knows quite whether they're supposed to sit in the chairs or just admire them. And I wrote this poem for him, and it's called Uncle. You carried my photo in your wallet until it fell to pieces in your hands. Hands that wrote to her every week with news from a place where nothing happened and nothing was said. Farmers' hands, big as the page, shaking as you tell me how she loved to dance, was the first to sing at parties until all the dancing and singing stopped. It was the way, you said, hoping more words might come to you from the pattern of the hotel lobby carpet. A family of strangers squashed between a hen party and a funeral. My husband and your wife not sure what to do with themselves. Me looking at oarsmen on the river outside, able to hear only half of what you were saying. You trying desperately to match my face with the one you had been keeping in your heart.